When may I see you again?
You are aware that I'm married.
You let me know if anything changes. Please raise your glasses as I marry the bedazzling Mrs. Elsa Brett. There will be time for tears and remembrance. No, there's urgent work to be done.
What work?
I must find and bring to justice the men who killed your mother and my wife.
Hello everyone, this is Siddharth Kumar from Review Magic. Welcome all of you, and today we're going to be reviewing the movie Georgetown. Georgetown is available on Amazon Prime. This is a 2019 drama and it's an hour long, 39 minutes. Now what this movie is all about, this is about Ulrich Mott. So Ulrich Mott is a socializer. He marries old age widow and he does that so that he can get connected in the political circle of Georgetown, which is a Washington, D.C. area. So the movie stars Christopher Waltz, who is also the director of the movie. This is the first movie that he's directing, guys. And you would recognize Christopher Waltz. You know, he comes in Django Unchained, he's in Inglourious Basterds, and he also comes in the 007 movie No Time to Die. So an Austrian-German actor, you know, when he starts speaking, you know this guy very well. As far as the other actors are concerned, you see Vanessa Redgrave. She goes by the name of Elsa Brett in the movie. She's the wife of Chris in the movie. Annette Bening, she goes by the name of Amanda Brehet. She is the daughter of Elsa. The movie has been written by David Auburn and Franklin Foer. As far as the plot of the movie is concerned, this is a real life story about a person called Albert Geromuth. So this guy who back in the days, he was a socializer and he married Viola Hermsdrath. Ultimately, Mr. Mutt was found guilty of murdering his wife, and today he is serving 50 years in federal prison. So this marriage between the two was described as the worst marriage in Georgetown. So Christopher Waltz has taken this initiative of directing the movie and also acting in this movie to try to give us a sense of what happened during their marriage and how did this gentleman who goes by Ulrich Mott in the movie convince people that he was all about uniting people in the area, and he was a retired brigadier general of the Iraqi regime and trying to dominate his own presence in the Washington D.C. elite area. When you think about the acting of this movie, I mean, definitely there are a lot of German actors that, guys, you can think about, but Christopher Waltz seemed to be like a very natural fit for the movie, you know, because of his German, Austrian background. The moment he opens his mouth, you know that, you know, this is a German accent, and, you know, I personally like that, you know, a different person portraying a good role, and given the fact that he's acted in so many different movies along with great co-stars from the US, from UK. So definitely it felt like it was a good fit for him. You know, he's very magnetic and charming in the movie, and he has always been like that. You know, whether you see No Time to Die, Django Unchained, Christopher Waltz has that personality. You know, when he speaks, it's very pure English, it's well thought, it resonates with the people, and he comes across as a matured person who's talking about it. So I think I've always liked that, and in the movie Georgetown as well, I think that he portrays a role of a guy who is very persistent, who wants to really climb the social ladder in the Washington D.C. area, and you know how he conducts himself. You know, when he gets convicted of murdering his wife, whether he's in the court where he says that, hey, you know what, I'm a former Iraqi brigadier general, and according to the Geneva Convention, I have to, you know, have a separate proceedings and so on. So he's very knowledgeable in the movie too. This is not a guy who just, you know, came in and is trying to just climb the social ladder in Washington D.C., especially when you know that, you know, the who's who of the world, especially of the political side, are in this area. So you got to have a good research background, understanding of how different political relations work. So I feel that Christopher's role in the movie is very spot on. You want to be able to follow him, you know, when he conducts parties, meetings, when he meets different people. He's very charming, as I said, and is someone who you think can persuade and convince people to do. So that was good. As far as Vanessa, who plays Elsa Brett, the wife of Christopher Waltz in the movie, she She's 91-year-old, guys. And, the real story is that Ulrich Mott was supposedly, he was this 26-year-old German unpaid intern, and he marries this girl who's 40 years older than him. So this is a talk of the town story. How does someone who is so young marry someone who was 70 years old in the real life, and they love each other and they want to be together? It's a big elephant in the room. You cannot ignore it. So the acting by Vanessa is pretty awesome, I would say. She plays the role Elsa in the movie, and just her expressions, she's so happy. This is her second husband, even if he's 40 years junior. She's excited to lead a new life with this person. So it was natural. She's a gifted actress, and I felt that that maturity, that senileness was absolutely there in her. So I loved her role in the movie. The daughter is played by Annette Bening, who goes by Amanda, and this is a daughter who is constantly questioning this marriage. She feels the guy is of her age, and why is all this happening? She dislikes the guy. She dislikes all the meetings. She knows that there is some foul play that is going on here. So she speaks her mind in the movie. So I think she's very blunt, to the point. So the role played by Amanda Annette Bening, I thought was good too. You really see different sides of all the three different characters. So they portray the role in a way that you feel is a natural blend overall. So when you talk about the plot of this movie, clearly Ulrich Mott is very ambitious guy, but what he really is deep within, he's a con man. This is a German guy, and somehow he portrays the role of brigadier general in the Iraqi regime, who's trying to convince the Iraqi consulate people, the Washington DC, the CIA, the current administration, that he is the go-to guy when it comes to any sort of consulting that is required to understand or broker peace in the Middle East area. And he's pretty good at that. I mean, he goes to embassies, he's meeting the Prime Minister of France, he's convincing them, he's persuasive, and to the point that he's able to invite them over, cook meals for all these people by himself, and run the show. So he does that, but ultimately what you see in the movie is that his relationship with his wife becomes sour. And at the end, his wife is found dead. Ulrich is apprehended. He's put behind the bars. This is a homicide. And this is how the story unfolds, that, he is sent to the jail. But how does he go from being an intern in the US to ultimately going to the jail is the plot. So when you talk about the direction of the movie, this is Christopher Waltz's first foray into direction. I would say, guys, it's definitely a very interesting story. You do feel, wow, this is fascinating. How can this happen that, a junior guy marries 40-year-old woman here? There must be some ulterior motive behind it. And it's not an easy story to, show, because, you're showing a couple's relationship go from a very hunky-dokey, rosy picture to, ultimately falling apart. The guy kills his wife. So Chris takes up this challenge, and you can see why he would do that, because this is not an easy story to show. There's not much enough information available online. So you got to show all that stuff in this movie. And I think that the way the story unfolds, when you see the first scene is where this guy, Christopher Waltz, is standing on a hill. He's wearing his uniform and he's commanding a battalion of Iraqi military. And then, you can see a silhouetted background. So the movie starts on that note. It sets the impression that, hey, this is going to be the background. Like, he's all about this big charm effect of him. Hey, I'm the general, But ultimately what he is, he's a con man. So portraying the whole story of how he comes to the US as an intern, he's facing the wrath of, his boss, and he leaves it. He finds this opportunity. He finds this old woman who he thinks that is well connected. By the way, guys, in real life, Viola Hermes-Drath, who goes by Elsa Barrett in the movie, she was very well connected in the Washington DC area. She was originally from Germany, Dusseldorf area. She came to the US, lived in Nebraska, went to college there and did her MA in literature philosophy. She well connected to the Bush administration. So he knew this thing. He knew how to connect with that. But what I'm trying to tell you is that, this is a story of a con man. How does someone go through all those hoops, convincing the Prime Minister of France come to his house for a dinner? How does he organize a party not a party, or just a get together for all the fallen soldiers of US who went to Iraq and laid their lives down? This is a brilliant move. So just to capture the whole story and, how Mr. Mott Albert Guerrero Mott did that, I think it's pretty fascinating to do, though, because because the story unfolds, a lot of different aspects to it. Again, as I said, this is not an easy story to make, guys. There are some scenes where you think that it's too complex to show. It somehow was not clear to me from a direction standpoint is that how did he convince that he was a brigadier general, even though he was a German guy, did he settle down in Iraq? How did he climb the ladders there? So there is some complexity involved in that, but overall, I think you can understand that there is some, secret aspect to the life of Ulrich Mott, who just wants to use this and, climb the DC's social ladder. So I thought overall the direction was good. It could have been made better, but depending upon the information that was available. The cinematography, I talked about the opening scene was good. It sets the tone initially. You also see a scene where Christopher Waltz is polishing his shoes. He's very serious about this role. He's polishing his shoes, his stars on the uniform. He's walking outside with a cigar in the dark and people are recognizing it. So there are a lot of different scenes, whether it's inside the house, when it's shot, outside the house, in the courtroom. I think it does play an effect on the audience that, yes, this guy has to be taken seriously. And cinematography does play a good role into that. The production design, this movie has been shot in DC. So, whether you're shooting inside the house, it's not an easy job to do when you've got 10, 15 people. How does the camera, go from one area to the other, outside in the courtroom? So I felt that when the set has to be realistic, it has to be a small house in Georgetown, Washington, DC area that has, like a 2-story and then, trying to show the wife is at the top shouting, the husband is at the bottom screaming. It's a small house, but to show the story through the lens of a camera and have a great production design, I thought this was good. It almost felt like this was happening in my neighborhood. I'm in Virginia, guys, 20 minutes away from Washington, D.C. So I could feel something was happening over there. So that was good. So just to wrap up and conclude my thoughts on this, I mean, this is definitely a one-time watch, especially if you're interested in real-life crime drama. If you are interested in the political aspect of Washington, D.C., if you live around that area, all this applies to me. And that's why I felt that I was so curious to see Georgetown. There was something unique about the thumbnail. If you see this guy who is up to something, this is like the Sneaky Pete show, which is on Amazon. This guy is a con man. He's trying to do something, but how does he do it? And I think Christopher Waltz does a good job in pulling the audience to see the story of the real life Albert Gueromert and how he did all that, because it's still not clear to me that why he murdered his wife. He didn't have to, because his wife was already 90 years old. Sooner or later, she would pass away. It's not clear the motives of this guy. Maybe he was frustrated. He could have taken a divorce. He could have gone away, but whatever happened, guys, my rating on this is it's a 7 out of 10 according to me, because there is some nuance to it. There is subtlety, but there is also some aspects that I feel, why would this happen? Why would he murder? How did he become that Iraqi general, which still is not clear to me. But I thought that, I do a review on this and I tell my audience that you can watch it too. It's available on Amazon Prime, guys. But overall, a decent directorial from Christopher Waltz, great actor. Everyone was phenomenal in the movie, including the other actors. The plot is interesting, guys. So do watch it if you have time. If there are any comments, you can write it below. You can subscribe to the channel. But until then, I'll see you soon and take care. Bye-bye.